Welcome back, Exes and Two podcast fans. Hey guys, I'm really excited. What's up? It's Danny here. You guys, we are back at it again with another episode. And guess what? We have another Amway panel. We have three different people who are coming to us to have another conversation about what time was like in Amway. So, to get these out of the way real quick, I and my guests are all speaking based upon our personal opinions based on personal experiences. All the names that we talk about will be changed, and we're not here to defame anybody. If you're a grown adult, please, by all means, if you want to join these organizations, like have at it. I would highly suggest to listening to a conversation like this or previous stories that we've talked about before. Do your research, and then you can decide for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't do. I'm just here to help people share stories because organizations like these have traumatized people. But like I said, personal experiences, personal opinions, all alleged by us. Don't sue me. All right. Good to go. So, you guys, I'm really excited because like I said, I got three people here with us. I'm ready to introduce them. First, we have Bree. Hi, Bree.
Hi, Danny. Thanks for having me on again.
I'm really excited. And which LOA were you a part of?
Worldwide Dream Builders.
Hey. Well, welcome. And then we have Antonia. Hi, Antonia.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, good. Really excited to have you here. And which line of affiliation were you in?
Worldwide Dream Builders.
Worldwide Strikes again. Well, welcome. And then we have Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca.
Hello. How you doing?
Good, good. And which line of affiliation were you in?
Worldwide Dream Builders with the guy who talks really fast.
Yay. Yes. We have two people who are part of the guy who talks really fast organization, and then their cousin who was a part of his parents' organization as well, which is really insane to think about because you're talking about that couple, right? And then their kids. I feel like there's a couple of also of the diamonds who like they took over their parents' business and they were called what, legacy diamonds. But I feel like the guy who talks really fast and his wife, they're like the only kids, at least in worldwide, right, who like went diamond on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Went diamond on their own without their parents' money?
I mean, I agree with you, but
I mean, weren't their parents diamonds?
Mm-hmm.
they were,
So,
yeah.
so yeah. Okay.
I love your speculation. That's a really good point, actually. But I always say this, I can't say it enough, is that I'm really excited, right? Because what were we all taught in worldwide and in all of the different lines of affiliation? We were always taught that one of the cardinal rules is you don't cross line. So what we're doing here and all of these different Amway panels, we are doing a big worldwide no-go. We are cross-lining. And I have to ask, and I would love to hear from each of you, why do you guys think it's so important that we do have these cross-line conversations?
I don't know who wants to go first.
Whoever wants to go first.
I was just thinking they don't want us to get together because we might actually leave. We might actually all have the same opinion or share what we are thinking and kind of gather and leave.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that I can think about.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think it's easier to keep people deluded when they're isolated.
Right.
Dang, that just reminds me of my toxic mom. She like put all her kids against each other so we wouldn't team up and go against her. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
same.
exactly like that.
So same.
Yeah. But I think it's important for us to get together as cross lines so we can heal, knowing that we feel the same way that we do, that we're not crazy. And what
Yes,
we went through is valid, you know?
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And I love hearing that because you're all right. You know, we all offer something that is going to give somebody else some sort of at least a thought, right? Of like, oh, well, and you start to question things. Like, and I mentioned this before, like the first time I ever cross-lined, I got in so much trouble. But basically I found out that the guy had to do less PV than we did every month. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm paying $600 a month. I'm a single parent. This dude over here, why does he get to spend like $450 a month on products? And my upline was like, no, you're not supposed to talk to him. Our line does better. Da 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 da. Like, shut the fuck up, Robert. And in every episode, I like to say, fuck you, Robert, because I really fucking hate you. So yeah, I hope you hear that, and I hope you know it. You're a piece of shit. But yeah, I think it's really important that people actually have conversations, because I feel like in regular businesses, you actually talk to people who do what you do. I mean, actually, Bree, you're a business owner. How often are you able to talk to people who are in your same line of work and get ideas from them?
As often as possible. Like a lot. I'm communicating with people who do what I do on a daily basis. So it's bizarre that they tried to keep us isolated and worldwide.
Right. Yeah. Oh, totally. And you get ideas everywhere, or advice, especially. I mean, obviously they wanted to say, oh, well, we are your upline and we're the only people who can give you advice. But it's like, your peers can give you advice too, because everybody's in this various different like aspects of life. And I just think it's insane, like you said, that they try to keep us away from each other. So when everybody got introduced to this business, what did you think it was initially? Like, for example, I've heard a lot of people think like, oh, I thought I was just going to a job interview or different things like that. So what did you guys think it was? We can start with you, Rebecca.
I thought it was a mentorship opportunity because initially that's what I was looking for. It was something that my mom said that I needed, like a mentor or something, because I had graduated from college. I had no direction. Um, I mean, I had a bachelor's of science in psychology, and with that, it was very hard for me to start out and get a job, and with the way that the economy was and everything. So, my mom said that I needed mentorship. So, when they said that this was an opportunity for mentorship, I thought it was somebody who was going to be walking me through the steps like of life, that weird point in life between 22 and 25, 26, where you don't have anything figured out and you don't really know what to do. And so I kind of thought that they would kind of be doing that, not like an actual business type thing. I don't know. It was just really weird. I wanted mentorship. So that's what I thought it was, but it wasn't, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Bree? Your introduction to this was a lot different from anybody that I'd heard of before.
Yeah. I thought I was meeting connects in the entertainment industry. I'm a tattoo artist now. I've always been artistic, so it's not surprising, but I wanted to break into the music industry for a while. I still kind of do, but it was introduced to me as, hey, I know somebody who is involved in entertainment. Let me give them a call.
Yeah.
So completely not that.
It's so predatory. Like, that's scary to me still, that like you just hear all of the really crazy stories of people who get into some really like sketchy stuff. I mean, not to say that this isn't sketchy, but I mean, it's just scary. Especially when you're like approached on the internet and someone's like, yeah, entertainment, like they really preyed upon what you actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
Horrific. What about you, Antonia?
So, when I first met them, I didn't have a lot of life experience or job experience. I was 17. So like, I thought it was a corporate job or something very fancy because they were wearing a suit. So I thought it was just like a corporate thing. Like, cause I'm young and I was always like watching like office shows or whatever, or like like people in the movies in like a nice skirt and stuff. So I was like, oh, it's corporate or something fancy. So that's what I thought it was.
Right. Yeah, totally. Like I very had like kind of a similar to both you and Rebecca. Like I thought that it was corporate, but I also like had this like I knew that they were going to teach me things, but I also didn't know what the fuck it was. Like the way that my sponsor like told me, he's like, I buy stuff. I'm like, dude, you're a fucking idiot, and he really is. But just the ambiguous way that they talk about these things, and really fast. I don't think we touched on this. Rebecca, when did you leave the business?
I left. I believe I started in 2015 or 2016, and I left in like between 2017 and 2018. That's
Okay,
kind of
so maybe from like 2016 to 2018, roughly. Okay,
yeah.
and then Bree, what years were you in?
2020 to 2023. So November of 2020 to May of 23, or it might have been November.
Got it. Okay, and what about you, Antonia?
2015 to 2020.
Well, so we have Bree, who was in the most recently, right, from in 2023. And even as of last year in 2023, it was still so damn ambiguous. You had no idea what you were getting into. And for that to still be prevalent in this organization is crazy because you don't know. I mean, sure, maybe you find out a little bit sooner because I think, Bree, that's what we talked about is that you found out maybe sooner than the rest of us did, whereas we took like 4 or 5 meetings to find out that it was Amway. I think they kind of told you right away, right, that it was Amway?
Yeah, in the second meeting.
Second meeting. Okay. I mean, second meeting's definitely, hey, that's progress. I'll give them credit where credit is due. But the fact that they don't right away tell you that is still insane to me because if okay, all three of you guys can just give a yes or no. If you guys knew it was Amway straight away, would you have proceeded?
No.
Hell no. Hell no. No. The fuck?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
I feel like your answer is fair.
Because I was 17 and my mom knew about it, but she didn't warn me about it, and I didn't have.
Yeah.
And then maybe if I would have went to my friend's mom, she probably would have warned me, but I didn't go to her right away. So, but yeah,
Wow.
either way, I would have been sucked in.
But you know what? When you say that, Antonia, it makes me think I think my knee-jerk reaction is no, like a hard no. But like you said, like you didn't know what you didn't know. And I feel that a lot. So I respect that because
That-
I do think that as well, probably. Because I like, I don't know, Amway probably could have been something that was good for me and I didn't know. Like I would have been skeptical, which I was. I mean, I feel like I did know that it was Amway before I moved across the country. So I literally moved across the country while knowing that it was Amway. So it's like I don't yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
I think sorry. I guess
oh,
if I don't let it out, it's gonna go, guys. It's because the way they manipulated it was if you research it, but everyone says negative about everything. So that's how they manipulated it. So that's why, and I remember researching it. I remember seeing negative stuff.
Yep.
I didn't turn away, It's because
Yeah.
they said
Yeah.
manipulated it.
I feel like that segues really well into what I was going to say anyway, which is, Danny, you're so sweet for giving them so much credit and saying, well, you know what, I'll give them credit where credit is due. Like, at least they said it in the second meeting. However, the lead up to that introduction is still so primed and is still so meant to condition you so that you don't question what they're telling you, that it's like, great, they told you it was Amway in the second meeting, but in this first meeting you've built such rapport and you've sat down, you've spoken, and oh my gosh, this person is my friend, I trust them, they haven't asked me for money, they haven't done anything crazy. We sat here and talked about our dreams and our goals and our ambitions, and now in the second meeting it's like, yeah, well, we talked about all this stuff already, so now you kind of have in your head that you have these grandiose ideas in your head, and it's like, well, it doesn't really matter what it is now, does it? So their priming of that is just they're still just as manipulative.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. You said it. You said it. But yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. There's still a level of manipulation, and I think everybody's answers are very very fair. I know that for me, my dad told me like right away, like this is not good. Like my dad told me it was Amway before I knew it was Amway, and so when I think back and I think about the fact that maybe I would have listened to him, like I probably would have still joined too. Like, let's be real. I didn't fucking know what Amway was. But I think if I had known initially, I at the time was such a skeptic that I would have researched it ahead of time. I tried, man. I knew the club owner's name. He was pretty well known in my area, but his name alone didn't get me any information. But again, they do that on purpose where they don't want you knowing what they don't want you to know. And
I
then,
have
of course, we all got in. We all were introduced by somebody, and all of us got in. And at one point or another, we all had really good experiences in there. Like, I think everybody in each individual episode, which if I haven't said this already, please, if you guys have not listened to Bree's episode, Antonio's episode, or Rebecca's episode individually, you guys have to go listen. I think each of them tells a very, very, very good story. And, so yeah, obviously we all got in. So one of the questions that I want to get into really quick, as being part of the business and loving the business, we're all going out, we're meeting people. Y'all, we have some crazy meet and greet stories. Like I know everybody's got at least one that you guys are like, oh, this went all kinds of wrong for all the reasons. Rebecca, let's go with you. What was the weirdest meet and greet you had?
I don't know. I got ghosted a couple times, and I just remember sitting down with one of the people that I worked with, and it made it like super awkward at work because he didn't follow through with the process. So, like, I yeah, I don't even know. But I know for me, it always felt awkward. Um, Mainly because I didn't truly believe in it. Like I didn't like that voice in the back of my head was always there. So I didn't really fully believe. So I never had a meet and greet by myself. So I don't know if they still do that, but the people who kind of recruited you, whoever's your upline, they'll go with you to your meet and greets and stuff until you're comfortable
Yeah.
with being on your own. So I went through that almost the entirety of me being in Amway. So, and I was there for like 2 years because I never felt comfortable doing it on my own. It wasn't the fact that I didn't get the information. It's just like, I don't know. It just always felt awkward all the time because it wasn't genuine. I wasn't sure if it was something that I really wanted to do, but at the same time I did because this is supposed to be my money maker in the future. I'm supposed to retire in like 5 years, and I don't know, I never really truly believed in it. So that's what always that it wasn't like a specific instance. It's like every instance that I had as far as a meet and greet was like super awkward for me.
Yeah, I get it. That's totally fair. I think you're right. When you don't believe in something and like deep down you kind of know, it can definitely make things uncomfortable. It's hard to sell something you don't believe in. What about you, Bree? I know going in that Eagle ship, there's got to be a few.
Definitely, there's two. One of them was actually my first MG one, and the other one was the last MG one. So it was like the first and the
Okay.
last sucked. The first one, I had obviously never done an MG1 before. I was building at a distance, so I had nobody to model anything for me. I just had to figure it out. But the very first MG1 I went into, essentially the guy knew all about Amway. So we sat down, we started talking, and he's like, "Is this Amway?" He's like, "Because there was some guy who like tried to recruit me," and I looked at him and I'm like, "What?" And I literally just stopped and I did not know what to say. And I kind of just like took a second. And I'm like, what do I say to this man? So I actually completely deadpanned for about 15 seconds flat in the middle of this conversation. And he's like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "I have to go pee." So I got up and I went to the bathroom. I brought myself together. I'm like, I'm just going to pretend I have no idea what we're talking about. So I went out there and I sat back down. And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I was just like not feeling well. Long day. What were you saying?" And so he proceeds to tell me all about Amway and how much it sucked. And it was a bunch of old dudes, white dudes who didn't know what they were doing. And all the products sucked and everything was expensive and none of it made any sense. And I was like, awesome. And I walked out of there and I went straight home and I didn't want to hear anything about it. I didn't even want to tell my upline about it. I'm like, I don't know what just happened. The second one was an older gentleman. He was like 35, 40-ish. I met him in my place of work. He was talking about how he had all these different companies, and it's like, as an AMBOT, you hear somebody who's an entrepreneur and it's like, ding, 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 let's sit down, right? So we ended up sitting down and he kept asking me, he's like, well, what is it? And I'm like, well, that doesn't really matter, right? As we're taught to do in MG1s, it's like, well, that doesn't matter. I'm not getting into that right now. And he just kept pressing me. And he's like, well, what is it? I don't know anything that you're talking about. He's like, we literally haven't talked about anything. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to ask you a question and you keep jumping to a different question. So you're not answering my question. So I said, I answer your question. And this man is getting sassy with me and he's getting aggressive. And I looked at him and I'm like, I actually do not want to engage in this discussion with you anymore. So I'm going to go. And he like follows me outside and he keeps pressing me. And I'm like, listen, at this point, I genuinely want nothing to do with this conversation anymore. I said, whatever offer was on the table, it's off the table. I said, you've made me terribly uncomfortable. You have no ability to speak to, you have no people skills whatsoever. I was like, it's amazing to me that you own a business at all. I was like, so how about we're good? And I had to like drive out of there because I was like, this guy's like following me to my car. So yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I mean, valid that he had all these questions for sure. But there's also that level of discomfort, especially like, okay, I did cringe when you said this older guy, 35. I just hit my 30s. I'm like, oh no, it's me. But but the fact that, you know, this person is older than you, and at the time you were much younger. And this, well, I guess maybe you weren't much younger, like maybe about a year, but either way, right? So you're uncomfortable and there's a power dynamic, and especially with some of the things that you went through while you were in the business as well. Like, I wouldn't know. I think you made the right decision regardless. That's crazy. Oh my God. That makes me
older,
cringe.
I mean older than me. I don't think 35 is old, but he was like older than me and it was like a 15-year gap. And he was very like aggressive. And I think that's what made him feel even older than that, was because he was so abrasive. And I'm like, why are you coming at me? Like, even if you ask somebody a question and they say no, drop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you ask somebody something and they're like, you know what, I don't really want to answer that. Like, you can make that decision for yourself on whether or not you want to continue through that process, right? But
totally.
If I'm telling you no, and I've told you no like 3 times, and now you're in my face, absolutely not. Uncalled for.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, good for you. Good for you for standing up for yourself, which is amazing, but damn. I'm sorry. These are funny. Okay, Antonio, what about you?
I have a lot of like more of like sharing my story, like really ones that really stand out to me. But as far as meet and greets, I think some of them were just awkward. Like I took some guy that I went to high school with while I was in high school in the process. It was just weird. And even some other classmates too. And then but that's it. Like I just remember like people I know I always felt weird going into the meetings, like with just really more professional wear, you know, and then there's just shocked or surprised that you're wearing so much, you know, professionalism. But the way that I wanted to touch on what she said, like when they will ask questions. Let me tell you what what my upline would tell me to tell them, and how it actually have helped me. Sorry if you hear a baby in the background.
That's okay.
What they told me to tell them they were to press is this. They would say, and I think this is how I got One Eagle, because they were really good at this. They really were. There's layers of information, and you know, when you go to college, you don't tell the doctor all the details of what he learned, right? He had to go through school. So in order for us to take you up to that point, we need to go through the layers of information. That's how we would tell people if they would press questions.
Dang. That's good though. Yeah. Oh, totally. Like there's always like the upline are really good at kind of preparing you for that. My upline would say, actually, this is a process and that's a premature question. We'll definitely get to it. But right now we kind of have to stay in the step that we're already in, which was always a way to, like you said, you know, kind of divert your way away from those questions. I think, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I wanted to touch on what Rebecca said how that she wasn't comfortable with doing meet and greets. I never got that chance to my upline did a few, and then they were like, all right, you're good to go, do some on your own. Like I was never like comfortable until I started doing a lot. And that was their way of like, yeah. And they
They
did like,
kicked you out of the nest.
yeah, they did 2 or 3, and they were like, all right, I think it's time. I think you're comfortable. We've done a few. She was always like that. She was always very cold sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
oh my
think
goodness.
that's probably why I never got anywhere with the business because I didn't feel comfortable doing it on my own because I'm just like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling this, but I am. And I think they probably wanted it more than I did. So I think they probably felt like they were dragging me in a way. But I was keeping up with core and all this other stuff that I was supposed to do. But it's just those damn meet and greets. But Antonia, as you were talking, I was just like, how convenient that they use a college analogy to explain this when they shit on college all the time. So that's nice that they
Yeah.
make some type of reference to college in a good way when it's usually used in a bad way. That's very convenient.
Yeah,
That's a very
totally.
convenient analogy for them to use. So,
What
geez.
Yeah. Well, they use college a lot in those kinds of ways, which is so funny. Like you said, it's very ironic because they speak so negatively about college, which is
Mhm.
so funny because when it comes to the 2 meet and greets that I think of that are so strange for me, and I have to say one of them was because of the people. I'm not by any means okay. I'm not a judgmental person, okay? But I do also, as an adult, have the understanding that there's some people we get along with. They're going to be great friends, and then there's some other people who maybe they're not going to be great friends of ours. We can still agree to disagree. We can be, be cordial. Not folks that I wanted in my downline. Okay. I just want to get that out of the way. The first one, we were in this Starbucks. Okay. Somebody got arrested right next to us having a meet and greet. Like we're sitting at this Starbucks table in this like really not great area of it's a local store called Fred Meyer in the Portland area. Okay.
In the
So
hood.
somebody's getting arrested. So me and my upline, I never did a meet and greet by myself, by the way. They never let me do that. Like it was a weird situation. But so somebody got arrested right next to us. Me and my upline look at each other. We're like, okay, well, we're gonna have to find somewhere else to continue this. We walk through this Fred Meyer, okay, and we go to where they sell the outdoor furniture. We finished the meet and greet in a outdoor furniture area of the store, like on the products that they were selling. I have a picture of it that I should post at some point. Like, what the fuck? This guy was
Jeez.
also he was like he was not comfortable in this business. I'm glad he never got in because he was gay and he was a college student and one they were very anti-LGBTQ, very homophobic, very racist organization, if I'm being like 100, in my personal opinion. But not only that, they shit on his dream of wanting to go to college. So not only was his first exposure finishing off this professional meeting on the store furniture that they're trying to sell to their customers, that was, so there's that one. And then the other one, I'm pregnant during this time. I'm not even allowed to talk about how I got pregnant. I don't have a significant other. I just got pregnant. And so I'm pregnant at this time. We meet this couple. Oh, this couple. Oh my gosh. I just have so much like empathy for this couple. Okay. I just want to say this ahead of time. But this was a couple. My upline, I begged them to get this couple out of my process. This was the very last couple I ever took through the fucking process. Okay. One, they weren't following the rules. But the first time I met with these people, the woman dead ass looks at me and she's like, I can see that you're going to have a very spicy baby. I mean, she was not wrong. I do have a very neurodivergent child, love him to death. She's like, I can see the strings sticking out of your guys' heads. And this one means that you're fighting with your wife. And she's talking to my upline about it. Okay. Like she's like, and with the strings, they're just, you guys are having all these challenges in life. Like, I think that your guys' strings really mean something. And
The
I'm
fuck
like,
is she
listen, if
talking about?
somebody has some sort of gift, okay. Like I feel like everybody has a different opinion on what they feel about that, but not gonna lie, this couple left and me and my upline were just like Craig. It was me and Craig dying. I'm not even joking. Like I feel terrible because we were laughing our asses off like what the fuck just happened. Okay? And it was just like so fucking awkward. So, and then I didn't want them to ever come to my house, so I started hosting board plans. So, yeah, crazy meet and greet stories. I'm
Oh, I'm gonna
really,
use that. I'm gonna use that so people will leave me alone. I'm gonna say, I see your strings.
Oh,
I
God.
see your strings. You better leave me alone. They're gonna be like, what
I'm
the hell is going on with this lady?
yeah, it was really like, I was really like interesting, and I hope they're doing well. I really do. I hope that they're glad they never got in, to be honest, and maybe they don't know what they don't know at this point.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we all got into the business. We all had some crazy ass meet and greet stories, but at some point we started to notice that these lines of affiliation, the lines of sponsorship that we were in, were fucking toxic. And one of the things that I feel like Upline were really, really prevalent in doing was controlling your relationships. Like, did anybody here, we can start with you, Rebecca, did you have any experiences where they pretty much told you either you can't date or were they trying to hook you up with anybody else in the business?
No, not necessarily. Like I came into the business with like kind of being in a relationship. That's kind of how I got recruited into the business. In that way. Me and a childhood friend like reconnected and he was already kind of being prospected into the business by his sister. So we had gotten into a relationship and I ended up being in the business. But like while we were in the business, we actually ended up like not being together anymore. So that made it kind of weird, but I was never forced to be with anybody or made it was common knowledge or like this unspoken thing. Well, no, it was spoken. Um, it was very clear that they wanted you to be with someone who is in the business. And those people who were not like-minded, um, they would kind of praise them getting a divorce from someone who did not want to be in the business and say, "Oh, I'm building this thing as a single on my own and all this stuff." But I think I remember saying before, I'm not exactly sure if I did mention this during the podcast that we did before, but my options seem kind of limited because like obviously I'm an African American female. I don't want to say obviously. I mean, I could just be something else. I could identify as something else. But I'm an African American female and I like what I like. I prefer black men. There wasn't a whole lot of black men in there and I'm like, who the fuck am I supposed to marry? Or who am I supposed to date? And I would see this same guy like every time and I'm like, am I supposed to be with this guy? Like across line, this is the only other guy that I see besides the one that I had gotten into the situationship with. So I don't my options were very limited. So no, they didn't force that on me, but I'm looking around and I'm hearing what you're saying and I'm picking up what you're putting down and I'm like, this is the only option for me. Like, get someone in the business, and that's the only black guy I see at literally every single major function and rally. And it's like, okay, I guess this is what I got.
Wow. I mean, yeah, they really do. And sometimes it is unspoken. I think that you made a really good point, but yeah, it's just really unfortunate the way that they do make you feel, which just sucks. What about you, Bree?
Yeah, so when I got into business, I was in a relationship already. And so for quite some time, they didn't push anything, they didn't encourage or discourage anything. But when they could kind of see that we were on the rocks, I was really praised for leaving that relationship or for that relationship having ended because I was working harder at building the business than he was. And then following that, they really kept tabs on my dating life. So they didn't explicitly say do or don't do this. But if I had mentioned, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of seeing somebody, which I knew how that would go over. So I was very prepared for what they were going to say. And I remember the response being, well, you should give him some time to build this business and then pursue him. And that was like that was my biggest turnoff. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this business. I'm done with these people because at that point they were trying to push me in one direction or another. And they very heavily discouraged me dating at that point. And they really wanted
Right.
me to be somebody in business. And they made that part clear.
That's so cringe. That's like it's just icky the way that they just kind of like finagle their tentacles into your fucking dating life as if it's their business. Like you have to bring them through the business, and if they're not, and then like they say no crosslining, right? Like no crosslining, but then they're like pushing you towards people. I'm telling you, they set people up. I believe that shit. They're putting people together left and right. That's absolutely fucking happening. That's crazy. What about you, Antonia?
Well, if you hear my podcast, you know about the guy that I was in that was also in business. Yeah, that was weird. But after that, I didn't date for 3 years because how freaking heavily I was involved in this business. Like I was celibate for 3 years. I know people are like, oh my god, I'm like, like, but also like in between that time, like, um, it always felt like wrong or guilty for me to date because everyone praised single and building it single so much, and so
Yeah.
even sometimes even her husband would give me kind of weird, judgy looks, and I'm just like, dude, and I grew up Mormon too, so it's like I was always sheltered about with guys and stuff. So my first experience with a guy, it was when I was 14. That didn't last so long, but when I was 17 with that guy worldwide, that was my initial first experience, and
Wow.
yeah. So when I when I realized, like, when I was 19, my mom never talked about boys. She was very like prudish too. She was so weird about guys and stuff. To this day, she is.
Mine
And
too.
I'm open about it. I'm like, dude, like, talk about it. Like, it's a normal thing, But when I started to
Yeah.
date, I think it was more hard to date because they wanted us to do a meet and greet one. And if they didn't want to do a meet and greet one, then they're not for you. And I never really did a meet and greet one with anyone. I mean, I always told them that you should meet my mentors, but that's it.
Yeah,
But it's
totally.
so freaking awkward. I knew deep down it was so freaking. Why would I want to ask questions when someone I want to date? It's separate. It shouldn't be. It's so awkward.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. If you guys are out there and you haven't heard already, basically when Antonia was 17 years old getting into this organization, one of the first people that approached her was a 22-year-old guy. And it took a while for anybody in the business to finally tell her that that wasn't okay. So I can imagine that was incredibly traumatic. It's so fucked up. Like turning a blind eye to that shit is repulsive. Like it's insane, and we talked about that too in your episode, Bree, where they did not protect you
Nope.
as a survivor of like sexual harassment. In fact, they blamed you for it,
Yep.
which kind of checks out for such a misogynistic, fucked up organization. So that's the thing, you guys, is that we really want you guys to know is that this type of organization has been nothing but terrible to its people. Why? Like, there's not mass exodus is happening for no reason. It's not like, oh, we decided, oh, fuck these people because we're not winning in life. No, it's because we have genuine traumatic experiences as a result of being in this organization. And kind of going through, after having been in the business, and now that you guys are out, and I know Antonia is super passionate about this topic, but when we were in, we were told to like hate jobs. Jobs are the worst thing we could ever have in life. Like, I know I didn't try hard at my job when I was in, and I hated it. So, what are your guys' views on jobs now? What about you, Rebecca?
I would say, actually, when I was in the business, and I don't want to give them credit for anything, but I actually climbed up the corporate ladder when I was in the business because my drive was so much like higher in that way. Now it's like I don't give a fuck about anything. Like I kind of be tired half of the time. Like I'm a mom, I got a 3-year-old. Like I'm not really worried about growing anybody else's company at this point. But yeah, they were very much like F this job, and that's kinda how I was in a way, but with all of the, self-help books and stuff like that, the commitment and everything that they preach, I try to incorporate it into myself and, how I was in life. Like, every aspect of my life, I really incorporated, so it kinda molded me into this almost into the perfect employee in a way. So I
Yeah.
was very dependable, that level of commitment was there, I had a high drive, like, I just it was like I just keep going. Nothing could stop me. And so I was almost like relentless and resilient. And I had all of this like I don't know if you if you guys had to read the is it Crucial Accountability or
Oh,
something like that?
Mhm.
You
I
guys
read
read that?
I read it.
Yeah. So it kind of and I don't remember everything that was in the book, but it I don't know, just that accountability, that personal responsibility and everything that comes with that. Yeah, I did really good. I excelled in my jobs, but yeah, that was the mentality behind it. Like, F this job. You don't
Mhm.
need this job. They shitted on all the jobs, which didn't make sense to me because if you get hurt and you need to go to the hospital, who are you going to see? Like,
Yeah.
you're saying that this business is for everybody and everybody can make it and all this other stuff. And really, it's not for everybody. Just like how they say college is not for everybody. Like, this opportunity, not everybody can make it. There's no way statistically that this can happen. And so it just seemed, it was all very weird. It was all very
Yeah.
weird. And then it made
No,
sense.
that's a great point. I mean, hey, if I'm being honest, if the crown guy had a doctorate and was like a physician, and I no, I'm not going to him. Like, no. But yeah, no, totally. And I think it's great that you were still able to climb the corporate ladder and were able to do all of those things. And you're right. I don't attribute it to them whatsoever. It's something that you yourself did, which is amazing. And I think you should be really proud of yourself for that and where you're at now. What about you, Bree?
Um, Personally, my perspective of jobs didn't change coming out of the business, but it also didn't change when I was in business. I've
That's
always
fair.
been, I've always been very entrepreneurial, very not anti 9 to 5 generally, but personally, it was never what I wanted to do. So my perspective never really changed.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's totally fair too, and I think that that's awesome, and I think that if anything, for me, kind of, of course, seeing you as somebody who own your own business, and I think it kind of made me see other people on their. I saw businesses as more attainable. Being a business owner was something that was possible, which I love the fact that other people did that for me, not them. So no, I totally get your
I
perspective
do
there.
have to do that. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys.
Thank you, Bree, so much. Bye.
Bye.
So, what about you, Antonia?
Okay. Okay, so obviously I didn't have much experience with the jobs, right? So the only thing that was in my head was what they were telling me about jobs. So, you know, there's no job security. 9 to 5 suck. Get out of the 9 to 5. So we never really took my job seriously, but I was able to sustain them because I just did what I was told, and that's it. But the thing is that came with a lot of flaws after the business because I'm not really good at taking initiative. I'm not good at being like, oh, can I have more work or is there more to do? I don't even Number one, I don't like asking because I of the trauma of grinding in this business. So I don't want to like give my soul up to the company anymore.
Mhm.
And then two, it's because um I just didn't know that that's what you're supposed to do to ask. And um and I leaving now to this day, even though I'm 3 years out of it, even recently, like my manager pulled me to the side and was like, "I need you to take more ownership of your job, because I don't because I don't do the bare minimum. I do what I'm told, and if you don't tell me what else to do, then I don't know how else to ask it." Um, but her words triggered me, and I'm still triggered this day. I'm a single mom, and it's exhausting having to. And I changed in my job. I'm taking more ownership, and I am as like being more ambitious in it. But I'm exhausted still at the end of the day. The business
Yeah.
exhaust, and I feel like I'm still stuck in a 9 to 5. I work 7 to 3:30, and I'm scared to leave it or do a different schedule because it's security right now for my bills. I want to. I
Right.
in me, I want to have my own business and I want to make my own schedule, and I don't want to be capped to my income that I make right now. I don't. But and I really do need to go to therapy for this. But the thought of grinding again, it just absolutely just doesn't sit well with me at all.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
Get
I
that.
don't want to do it. And people are like, go to school, and I'm like, not right now. It's I have a lot going on. I'm literally a single mom. My village is 2 people that I room with in my apartment, and they have their own lives too. So it's just me.
Yeah.
So I cannot
Yeah.
I cannot go to school right now. It's too much. And on the weekends, I
Yeah.
want to rest because I didn't have that chance in the business.
Yes.
Always on my mind. Um.
Yeah.
That's
So
so normal. That is so
Uh,
normal. Like, I just don't want you to feel like you are not normal because everything that you just said, you just spoke to my soul just now because,
yeah,
literally
like,
totally.
spoke to my soul every time you said that. I was like, I like this. I like it. Every audio, but for yours, I just was like in my car, like I'm like,
yeah,
shut
we're,
up.
we're spirit sister.
Which is amazing. Like this is why I love these types of conversations and being able to connect other people to other people because she's right. Rebecca's right. You, Antonia, are not. You're not abnormal for the way that you feel, but I can understand why the business made you feel the way that you did, and I can agree with you because I feel the same way. I was a single mom in the business, and I had another child while I was in the business and ultimately ended up leaving. And when I was in, I had no problem grinding as hard as I did, right? I would keep my child out, which is sad, right? I wish I hadn't done that, but I would keep him out late hours of the night doing Postmates, trying to get extra money for us to just make ends meet. But now that I'm out, it's hard. I didn't want to go to school. I had a newborn baby, like you had said, my village was also pretty small because I have a similar relationship to my mother the same way that you do. And I was tired of staying up all night. The one other time that I grinded, let me fucking tell you, I'm so mad at myself now because essentially I did the same thing. I spent 3 months, I didn't do nothing, and I got my license to be a loan officer and be in mortgage. And then my son got his diagnosis, and I was so mad because the same concept, right? I didn't want to grind for nothing. Sure as shit, I had to leave my career and then go on to take care of my child. And it does like it sucks, especially when you're not passionate about it. But I think one, you're not abnormal. But two, I really do think that you're gonna find something one day that is going to inspire you to want to do that. Like, I think that's totally possible too. And it's also okay to take a fucking break. Like one thing that I'm even learning with this podcast is that like I have other responsibilities. I can't do it every day the same way other people can. And I love my audience. Like I love my community of people because you guys are always so understanding if like an episode comes out late or if I don't post for a week because we have inconsistencies at home too. But the business made me feel if I don't do it every single day, I failed. And actually, we
Mhm.
had this conversation last night
Mhm.
where I was talking about how I was trying to do something for, trying to be consistent and do it every single day. And what did they teach us in Worldwide? If we miss one day of core, what happens? We start all the way over. You were
Mm.
on day 28 of core. You forgot to send up a Kate. You've read that day. You may not, you dropped the message or at least fucking made somebody aware of what's available, right?
Mhm.
You ate the products. You did what the fuck you were supposed to do. You didn't send a Kate. Sorry, I didn't get your Kate yesterday. So, what day of core are you on again? I guess I'm on fucking day one, Sharon. Okay, like, what the fuck do you expect me to
Not
say?
Sharon. Godly.
I'm just saying, like, did you
Betty,
guys
you're
have a
so
similar?
funny. You crack me up. I can't.
Did you guys have a similar experience though with core, where like you had to put at the end of your Kate message like what day of core you were on?
I can't even
Yes,
remember
I have
that.
multiple calendars set up, 90 days core runs. It wasn't 30 days, it was 90 days. So 3 months of months.
Oh.
And I would check it off. I was core for 5 years. I kid you not.
Oh, wow.
Kid not.
Wow.
Every single day. Every single day.
Damn.
I would
Yeah.
pride myself when I would do like 30 days. And I'm like, if I missed one day, I was like, oh, damn. But then I don't know. I just wasn't, I was core, but the only thing that I had an issue with was dropping the message. That is the only thing,
Yeah.
but that's the main thing that you're supposed to do. I could syndicate, I could read, I can do all these things, listen to audios and stuff, but dropping that message was just like, and that would always be the thing that would set me back. And then they would pretty much say, if you are not being core like 100%, then you're not serious about this business, or they would make you feel inadequate. And so I don't know if we necessarily had to start over, at least with my upline. I don't even know. I don't even know if I cared that I needed to start over. I just remember saying, like, well, it's another day. I have another opportunity to, like, I think they would say, draw a line in the sand and start it out as a new day.
Yep.
So you could still be core the next day, like almost like starting all over again, but it wasn't like, okay, this is day one, like the other days didn't matter. But yeah, it was, I don't know. But I did want to comment what on Bree said before she left, about having the entrepreneurial mindset. I had that too. I still have that, but with having a kid, it is incredibly hard to do, and I'm also against the 9 to 5 mindset. I don't think I was wired to work 8 hours a day, honestly. Like, that is some bullshit. I don't know who came up with it, and I am so against it, but I can't afford to have to f I can't I'm trying to go back to school right now, and it is incredibly hard to do that, to even take on 2 classes. Like, I almost lost my mind taking on 3 classes like a maniac, and I'm like, "Oh, well, this other class is just 1 credit." It's still a class that takes up, like, 2 or 3 days a week. So, yeah, the 9 to 5 works for my lifestyle right now. I don't want it to be for forever, but it's kinda what I have. I'm still motivated to do other things, but honestly, I don't necessarily know what I wanna do, and I am going back to school to hopefully become a physician assistant someday, hopefully a psychiatric physician assistant, but,
Wow.
which, I mean, I would still be doing, like, a 9 to 5 in a way. I'll probably have just maybe a little bit more flexibility so I could be, like, remote, because you can be remote, or I could be working in, as a PA, you could be in OBGYN, you could be psychiatric. It's a little bit more flexible, but it'll be something that I actually like. And I don't necessarily have to own my own business. It's something that I'm still open to, but I don't
Yeah.
feel like I have to do that anymore. Like, there's other ways to enjoy life. You don't have, everybody doesn't have to be a business owner or make a certain amount of money in order to become successful. Like,
Yeah.
whatever this form, whoever came up with what successful means, we don't need that to be successful. Just live life,
Yes.
take care of yourself, do the best that you can, and that's all we have. That's literally all we have. So don't try to be like these Joneses or fake gurus and stuff like that, because by the time we 40, like, everybody gonna be in jail because everybody's scamming people. There's so many scammers going to jail these days. Like, all these
Yep.
people out here just scamming people, MLMs, Ponzi schemes. Like, you think that they live in these lavish, flashy lifestyles, and none of it is real. It's not even true. So who are
Yeah.
we really? We're trying to keep up with a facade. And
Yeah.
so it
Exactly.
doesn't fit us. The 9 to 5, I don't think it was created for us, honestly, but all this other stuff is not even real. So we just gotta do what's good for us.
Yeah.
What's good for me.
Yes.
Have a 9 to 5. It's not bad. It, you know,
Yeah. Oh,
like
totally. My
it,
parents are built for the 9 to 5.
yeah, like right now it pays my bills. It is
Yeah.
crazy. They would say, "Oh, it is not secure or not stability." I kid you not. When I was renting out the rooms, the only thing that saved me was my job because
Yeah.
coming in and I was able to pay rent.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
I kept my jobs for a long time. Like the first one was 3 years. The second one was like about almost 2 years. The other one was 5 months, but it was really toxic, and it was really like my mental health went bad. It was like a Bank of America call center, and the
Oh
calls were
God.
back. And I was like, this reminds me of the business. I cannot. I like
Yes,
and
call centers are too much. Like, I can't do that type of work anymore. I was in sales for a while, and honestly, like, as much as I say, like, "Oh, yeah, I was disappointed by getting the diagnosis," let me tell you, I'm okay with that because mortgage is a lot of the similar things, right? Sales, cold calling, getting clients, da, da, da. Like, I love it. I think that that's a great drive for people who are into it. I'm not built for that anymore. And there, like you said, like there's a lot of stability when it comes to a 9 to 5. And I think of people like my stepmom. She's like my mom, right? So she has been in the same career field for 20 years. If it wasn't for her job, I would not have the knowledge that I have now because she has been in special education for a long time. And my point is that she has so much flexibility with her job. She basically can do whatever she wants. And that's what she loves about it. She loves her job. She loves the hours. Like she was always one of those people when I was in the business who was like, I love my job. And my dad's the same way. There were days where maybe he didn't like it, but he was like, my dad was at the same job for 30 years, basically. And those are things that they always discredited in the business and were like, oh, they're miserable. No, my parents have more and are happier than the people in the business. Their houses are bigger. They actually they own their cars outright. Like my parents have a life that I want. And they always made me feel like shit because I had a small dream. Like, no, I don't want some fucking what are those cars? A Bugatti? I don't want a Bugatti. Like, no. Okay. I mean, do I want a little bit more than like a Honda? Yes. Oh, totally I do. But like a Toyota. not, not a Bugatti. I'm okay without the Bugatti. Okay. I don't even like the word Bugatti.
oh my gosh.
Anyway. So
Now that you're saying that, it just reminds me because I never had an average life. I was in, domestic violent home. So I never really had a home. So all I wanted was, yes, a white picket fence and a house. You know why? Because I had one and I don't care. I want that now.
yeah.
I'm still like when you asked that question in your email, like how are you thriving? And I'm like, if anything, I'm not because of that business. I'm still in the same,
Yeah.
but now with the baby and two girls. We're not friends with them. I'm not friends with one of them anymore, and for different reasons. But they try to warn me in high school, and they have degrees now and really good jobs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm still here. We're making 1770 because I gave all this energy to them. And I'm sorry, I'm like getting emotional about it because these are my thoughts. And like, I could have used that energy to get a degree that can help me get a better paying job that I can have a home now. And that's this is how I sounded when I was talking to my mentors before I quit. I told them I want a home,
Yeah.
And
Oh, make me cry.
yeah, sorry.
No, please don't apologize. These are raw emotions that people don't recognize that are happening. Like, you're right. You were 1010% right. Like, they take years, decades away from us. Like, and by the time you get out, it's like, is life really where you want it to be? A lot of the times it's not, and we have to spend years literally clawing our way out of the fucking holes that they made us dig ourselves in. Like I feel you, I really, really do, and I hope you know that you're going to get out of this. I hope you know that where you're at right now is only just a milestone. And I know I'm saying that because I have to believe that for myself. And it's because I'm seeing people who are older than me. So like some of the people that I've connected with because I'm a mom, because I'm in a committed relationship, like my friendship groups have changed. And I'm friends with people who are in their 40s or just entered 40 and they own homes, they own businesses, they like have this like all of these things. And I'm like, I don't have that. But I'm also like 10 years younger. I also had a lot of different things happen. Like, you will get there. I believe in you. And your circumstances, it's okay to say that your circumstances brought you there. And the business fucking did that. And I think that if people really need to hear something, it's your emotions. So please don't apologize, because I think this is exactly what people need to see if you're comfortable with them seeing this, because
Absolutely.
people don't recognize just how fucking predatory these businesses are. I mean, we're talking
Sorry, baby.
thousands of dollars that we put into this business, not just thousands of dollars, years of our lives.
Yeah, because when they told me not to get a car payment, and I to this day I think it's true, but knowing that I didn't have a car payment for 5 years and how much I invested into that business and people's podcasts telling me the number, I never wanted to know the number. But when they told me the number, I was like, that could have been a house. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I hate that business. That's all I can say.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
also
okay. And I think it's a valid question and a valid answer.
I just don't want that to like really affect your mental health because it really can. It can make you go down a rabbit hole of thoughts like what if I would have done this and what if I would have done that?
I
And
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's okay. I'm so sorry that like you're having all these feelings and it's just so raw and it's so real. Like I can I hear you and it's like I identify in so many ways, but at the same time I almost feel nervous to say something because like I went to school. I went to school, I graduated and I had good jobs, but I'm I'm making the same as you right now. And like I supposedly I'm supposed to be making a higher amount or whatever, and I'm not. Like the house is nice and I don't want to sound like I'm unappreciative of where I'm at, but like it can be snatched out from under me at any time. Like I live paycheck to paycheck right now. Like
My
the
gosh.
account was like negative $535 2 days ago. So
Oh,
like I just got paid what Friday? And so I was able to get it to where it was positive $160. So I mean that was good, but hopefully nothing happens to my car.
Oh my
You
gosh.
know, to where
I know.
I have a car, but I can't even really pay for it at this point.
Don't be scared to say anything. Like, don't ever, no. Like, if you have success, say it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
But
Like, if you accomplish that, like,
but that's the thing, it's success, but it feels like it is like it's supposed to be, but at the same time, it's not. And I don't want it to make you feel better or bad or anything. It's
no.
just that's the way it feels to me, you know,
I
like
know what
I
you mean.
know you I know you want these things and I want you to have these things, but at the same time I also don't want you to have regrets because
No.
like I want you to still do whatever you feel like you want to do. Like get the house, get the car, go to school. But I guess from my perspective is that I have all these things and I'm still scared every single day. Like, am I still gonna have this house tomorrow? Am I gonna be able to afford my car next month? Like it,
And I
it's
understand
hard.
it. I do because I always say that. I always said that before my car got stolen. I was like, I don't brag about it because I can get taken from under me, and look what it happened. It did.
That's crazy. That's
And
so crazy. I'm
yeah.
so sorry that happened.
I do have coping
Yeah.
mechanisms. Like I'm like, okay, Antonia, like I've accepted what happened. But when I talk about it, it just like brings up all these emotions. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
but I've accepted everything. And I have like, I'm going to just keep pressing forward. And if that's what I want to do one day, I am going to do it. It's just not right now. It,
Yeah.
it, and I've always said this, like everyone's cards are played different in life. You just gotta like handle the one that you're dealt with, and it's okay if your timeline is different than that person, even though
S-
you're probably the same age.
Yeah, totally. And I think that everything that you guys have said is so valid. And if I'm being like 100, I know I don't usually get super emotional, but I have a lot of the same thoughts. I had to go to therapy last year because I have a lot of those like, well, what if? And honestly, it all comes down to, and I'm going to say it, is my mother because I feel like I was robbed so many different things because of the way that my mother was. And because of my mom, I ended up in a business like this. I ended up with a guy like Kyle. Like, I didn't have the privilege of having like good parents. I had one good parent, but he was stolen from me by my psycho mother, you know? And I think about, God, I wouldn't have had to get married at 18 if I didn't have a fucking stupid ass mom. You know, if she didn't push me into that situation, I wouldn't have gotten pregnant because I didn't want kids because of her. But
Oh my
because of her, I was a people pleaser and manipulated into having a fucking child and never felt as if I, as a woman, had a choice. And not only that, like her behavior was normal, so I ended up with a guy like Kyle, and my mom never set me up for success. She kicked me out a number of fucking times and never prepared me to actually live with stability.
God.
And those
Same.
are things that, like, is that what if, right? What if I had a different mom?
Mhm.
Like, what if, like, God was actually on my side the day I was conceived and was like, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
So
I think about it all the time.
the baby of my dad's mom, wonderful. And
Yeah.
he has issues, and I think I told you about it. And I don't want to. I
Yeah.
just want to keep this stuff private, but
It's okay.
I just I'm like, why did you go that direction, dude? Like your mom and your house. Like I'm right now house sitting, and you have you have a room. There's rooms here for you, and all you had to do was have good actions. That's all you had to do. And I had good actions with my mom. I was the perfect child. I was in school, sports, and I was doing a job. And I graduated with honors. And I never did drugs. I never partied. I never snuck out. And I still got abused.
Yeah.
So
Wow. I'm so
So
sorry. I
sorry.
mean, I credit you for that. I was a horrible child. I was a horrible teenager. I was drinking and smoking, skipping
now
school. I had to go to military school.
I was like, there was either way I was going to get slapped. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
Which is so sad, and I'm excited for us to be able to get into this in a whole different episode because
yeah.
toxic moms, man, is a thing. But yeah, you know, this business, you guys really, really fucked us up. It really, really does because you're right. If I hadn't, and I think about that too. Like I said, I cry about it a lot. I do. I sit and I'm like with my significant other. I'm like sitting down during a hard moment, and I'm just like fucking in tears. Like if I hadn't been in that fucking business, we would actually be in a house right now, like our own house. We would be able to buy a house. Like we wouldn't have to struggle as much as we are. And so yeah, no, sorry, I'm getting emotional too. I am so grateful that you guys were so willing to come on and be so vulnerable for everybody who's listening, because I think it's these types of conversations that are so meaningful to everybody. I would love to end this on a positive note. I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of the hobbies that you guys have now that are keeping you going?
Watching TV.
Hey, what are you watching?
My child. I love this little guy. He smiles so easily. It's ridiculous.
He's
Um,
so cute, by the way. He's
Yes.
such a ham. Oh my God. I just want to pinch his little cheeks.
I
He's
know.
so
You're just
cute.
making this aggression. I'm like, okay, calm down. Like,
He's so fluffy. I just want to squeeze up.
I'm ready for the soldier. Like, I'm not ready for the girls chasing him. I'm not ready. I'm like, I'm
We
like,
got another 16 years.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Long
we
time.
good.
but everyone's like, oh my god, it's tall. I'm like, thank you.
I love it. So,
Yeah.
okay, Rebecca, what are you watching? I have to know.
I
Or like, what's like your favorite show right now?
I just got through Chicago Med. And then I canceled Peacock, so now I'm watching all of my trash TV, all of the housewives shows, and then I just started Echo last night, but I fell asleep. I have this bad habit. I'll start a show, once I take my sleeping pill, 30 minutes, I'm knocked out. So by the time I woke up, the TV was watching me, and I think it went on to Arrow because I'm pretty sure it went through all 5 episodes of Echo. And for those of you who don't know what Echo is, it's on Disney Plus, and I think it's a continuation of the Marvel Daredevil. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I think it's like the continuation with Vincent Dion Freno, how the guy from Law and Order, Criminal Intent. So if you and I watch that too a lot. Binge watch all of them. The regular one, SVU and Criminal Intent. So like I like I am spending my time the way I want to spend my time, and I am watching TV because in the business I was not able to watch TV. I did not have a TV for the first year and a half. And then when I moved out, I finally got my own TV and I barely watched it because I still needed to be on my grind. And now I watch TV, but I am still learning how to relax. And I am
Yeah.
learning another language, so that's another hobby that I'm doing.
Yay, what are you learning?
I am going back to my roots because my mom, she is Haitian. Well, she's Haitian and some Dominican as well. So I'm trying to learn. I've been in Spanish all these years, and I grew up in Miami. So Spanish I'm familiar with, but I need to get back on it. But I'm trying to learn Haitian Creole, and my whole family speaks it on my mom's side. So I would like to learn it because she never taught me because my dad is American, my mom is Haitian, so we didn't speak it in the household like that. So I want to learn it now so my son can know it.
That's
I
cool.
love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm so happy for you and I love it. I love that you're being like you're able to actually like do what you want to do and focus on what's important for you and keeping your culture alive for your children. I love that so much. And
Yeah.
Antonia, what about you? What are you doing to
Thank you.
keep yourself going?
When I can, I like to go to the gym. I really do. It helps me stress out, and also too, I like going out drinking with my friends. Not a lot, like, and I
Sure.
don't do a lot because of my baby. Um, but I like having just being able to do that. And then my 2 roommates I actually are teaching me how to relax too, because they just come home and watch TV all the time, and I'm like, they don't work out, they don't do anything else. I mean, they hang out with friends if they want to, but they're gamers, and I'm like, thank you for teaching me how to do this because I thought I was like guilty. Now I kind of like staying home now. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm good staying home all day. Like I don't have no problem with it.
Yeah.
I'm actually an introvert too, so like,
Yeah. Me too.
so I right like and I think that's one of the positives. Like I'm able to like like show my personality and like if I want to talk to somebody, I will. I still compliment people too, genuinely. Like if I like something, I
Yeah.
so I like to work out,
Wow.
baby, and like watch movies and TV shows. I finished the Vampire Diaries. I never have. It took me and
Wow.
then sometimes and I love. He's named after one of the characters. My
Oh,
baby.
that's dope. Yeah.
Oh.
But one of the things that I don't really like watching movies, not because of the business, it's because with my mom, all she did was have us just stay in the house and watch movies. So if I have the if I so I don't really like to watch movies because I'm like it just reminds me of what we were always just stuck in the house. But if you guys hear my
Yeah.
baby, I'm sorry and thank you for letting me have next to me.
Yeah, of course. I'm not like worldwide where I say, "Hey, this is a family business," but never your own family.
Oh yeah.
Of course. Yeah, no, totally. And I get it. I have 2 kids too and Rebecca has a child and
Mhm.
we get it. And I really appreciate your guys' willingness to come here and I'm really glad to hear that everybody is doing so much better. And I know like you said Antonia, like there are a lot of steps backwards because of the business, but I think right now at least for me, I've just obviously getting to know you, but you seem really happy. Whereas I'm sure when you were in the business, there was a lot more false happiness. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're able to be free
And
of their facade.
I count my blessings too. Like I tell myself, look, you have a roof over your head, you have a car, you have a job. Like that's what you need right now, and that's okay. That's more than what other people will have. Not that my problems don't matter. I like
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know people have it worse, and I'm grateful. But it's just when we talk about work, like it just
Yeah.
Amway, it just brings up all these emotions again, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And I
makes
don't
so much sense.
Absolutely.
people to feel bad for me. I don't want that at all. That's just how I feel, you know? I just
Yeah.
because I
Totally. No, it's okay. And if anybody views it that way, they're obviously within the wrong mindset. I think that
Right.
what people should feel is, wow, this organization has really genuinely traumatized people. Like we
Right.
can come on here and talk a bunch of shit and like laugh, but at the end of the day, there are some really deep-rooted issues that were caused because of this business. And ultimately, that's what I love about this conversation. And that's why I'm not going to shut up about it because this business like actually fucks with people and it like I said I'm gonna be real, I cry about it all the time. There are things in my life that I'm like, if it wasn't for the fucking business, this would not be happening to me right now. And I do have to kind of go through the motions and cry about it. And then, of course, have that fucking acceptance or whatever. But, moving forward from it is hard. It is really, really challenging. So, what have you guys, now that we're kind of, wrapping things up and having gone through so many different emotions, what are some resources that have been helpful for you guys to kind of affirm your decision to leave?
Mm. I would say, well, I don't know, like therapy, but I got therapy after, well, I have been in therapy on and off since I was in college, but like I think like therapy afterwards definitely helped me get through uh, some of that, but I think just being out on my own, knowing that I really had to make it on my own because I had nobody when I lived in Vegas. Like, I just had my friends, and my friends were my upline, and then they were getting divorced and all that stuff. And then I got kicked out of living with them. I have no family in Las Vegas, like anything. And those were the only
Yeah.
people that I knew. So I think being on my own, like that pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality, which I still don't really fully believe in half of the time, but I think that's kind of what affirmed me, like I need to leave because like that money that I was giving to Amway, like I needed that money to live. So I couldn't
Yeah.
live in my car. Like I did stay in my car for like a night or two, and it was cold as hell. Like Vegas gets cold. So
it does.
like I was like
It's
kind
cold
of,
right now. It's
yeah,
freezing.
I'm pretty sure it's like 30 something. Like it gets cold. Like it's a desert. And so deserts do get extremely hot, but they get extremely cold. And so
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, I need this money to survive. And nobody helped me move. Nobody helped me do any of that stuff in Amway.
Yeah.
So like, no, I needed to leave. These are the same people who are like pretty much we're your family and stuff like that, going to their family reunion and all this stuff. Me missing my family's family reunion, like that yeah, that did something to me. I'm missing my actual family's family events. So I don't know if there were any like actual resources that made me leave, but just drawing on those life experiences, just using all that whole accumulation of things coming together, that's what
Yeah.
like kind of clicked for me. Like I'm making the right decision. I got to go and I need to live my life and make my own decisions for myself.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. How about you, Antonia? Sorry, I'm getting you guys confused.
No, I think it was COVID. Like um my sister needed help, You know, me and her shared a room after we left the business, 1 bedroom with 2 bunk beds after we left because, you know, we didn't want to talk to our parents. My dad's cool, but me married and like, you know, made that his family and he helps out a little bit, but it's like he remarried and that was his family now, you know? And that was what affirmed me. And Alexis, my sister had a lot to do with me leaving. She just was like, this isn't good. Like, you know, like she would warn me. And and she taught me how to take naps. So it was mainly her, like, you know, telling me to like get out. And and it was because they always write their values on the whiteboard, and one of them was family. So when she told me that, oh, like I thought you were gonna stop talking to your sister, and you cannot help her or whatever, and I was like, no, screw this. This is my family, you know, that I like, and she's my triplet, and we don't have no help. Are you gonna give us a room? I don't think so. So I was like, I'm out, and it just I chose my family over them. I don't care. And all they did was stab me in the back. You know,
Wow.
all they did was never have my back.
Yeah.
So I think even your podcast affirm me leaving. Absolutely. I don't know if you're ever gonna do a podcast with another Bree, the one that I share in the
Yeah.
uh,
Yes, we're trying to get some stuff set up. I think we're both just kind of like missing the mark with both of like
I
our
know.
timelines aren't matching up, but I have talked to her. She is so sweet and I really am looking forward to an opportunity to getting to speak with her as well. So,
Yeah,
but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think that I have to agree with you. A lot of the therapy helped me so much, and being able to hear from other people's stories. Zay and Melody, oh my God, they are
Oh,
the
yes.
goats, the OGs,
Yep.
the like I will 1000%, and we talk about this every time. They will always be credited because they really started something, and I just love what they did. And I think what they did really inspired me because their videos are what helped me leave, and that's what helped a lot of people leave, and
I
they
think,
really, really started something.
are they
Yeah.
in YouTube or where are they at? Like,
Yes,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
yes, Zay I can
YouTube.
send you a link. Yeah, Zay Melody and
please.
7
I was
is
like,
the YouTube channel.
I was listening to the last podcast and I was like, I want to hear it. I was like, where do I find it?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'll send it to you because yeah, they're not active anymore and they don't create content anymore, but they will always be relevant. I love what they have done and they have some hard-hitting stuff. So if you guys are out there listening, Zay Melody and Seven, so that's ZemelodysEven. It's I don't know if it's it could be and in there, but Zay Melody and Seven is their YouTube channel, and they have so much stuff from their story while they were in Worldwide. I was actually in at the same time as them. Like we rubbed elbows. They probably wouldn't even know who I was in terms of who I was in the business. Um, but yeah, so guys
I
haven't
think
checked them out,
we
please
all
do.
did. Yeah. Because I
It's
was in Portland
crazy.
when you were in Portland and they were in Portland,
Yes.
and I had to go to Portland for like a FED or something like that. I'm like, I feel like I know we had to all be there at the same
At the
time,
same time.
especially if it was like 2017 or something. And I'm like, oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. And they started making those videos in 2019. Definitely binge watch all of them. Like
Yes.
that was so therapeutic for me. I was out of the business by then, so I needed that. So come back, baby,
No,
come back.
me and me and Bree would come home from a night out and like she was like, oh, like, I still think this way, or like this makes me feel bad. I'm like, oh, me too. And I thought she was the only one I can go to because we were the only ones that knew, but people who have never been in it, thank God, they don't know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
just,
totally.
I just feel like it's still like a secret thing because I don't
It
want people,
is. Yeah.
because when I say I was in a cult, people are like, I'm like, nah, seriously, I was.
Oh, yeah. People who don't understand, and that's kind of been my the same concept with domestic violence. People, if they don't know, which thankfully they don't know, I'm grateful they don't know, but they don't get it, and I'm grateful that they don't get it. Same with having a narcissistic mom. If you haven't had one of those, let me tell you, you're lucky as fuck. But like it's not something that unless you meet somebody else who gets it, like Antonio, we were on a call for like, I swear, hours the first time we met because it was like we connected on so many different levels. Or people
Oh my
who
God. I was
honestly just like, but just people in general, who get it. Like I mean, Rebecca and I too, we're on call for a long time because there's so many things that we have in common too, especially like the video game aspect of things. And same with Bree who just left, she is somebody too that like we have this in common and it's just easy to connect with people who get it. So I'm so grateful for your guys' time. I am really excited. If you guys are out there listening, please let us know how you liked this episode. Do you guys like the Amway discussion panels? I really hope you do because I personally love them. And I'm excited to have more people on. But if you guys want to be like Antonia or like Rebecca or Bree or the various other people that we have had on, you guys can email me at DANI exesandtpodcast.com. You guys are so welcome to DM me on Instagram at exesandt.podcast. Same handle for TikTok. You guys can catch me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. Those were my bad. But anywhere that podcasts are heard. Thank you again so much, you guys, for your time, and we will catch everybody in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.